The right to have an abortion is a very important right. It represents the right to bodily autonomy. It represents the absence of the authoritarian government overreach that is anti-abortion legislation. Anti-abortion legislation is inconsistent with the right to bodily autonomy and represents an overreach of state power. Abortion rights can be justified through a simple consideration of the veil of ignorance. Who would you prefer to be? An aborted fetus, or a person forced to carry a fetus to birth? Many will say the former. Many will support abortion rights. There are of course many considerations about life. For much of its development, the being that resides within the womb is a lower life form. It possesses less sentience, less capacity for suffering, and less moral value. This can justify partial abortion rights. We can also make considerations about our rational moral maxims. Undermining respect for sentience is not in the interest of one who can suffer. What undermines respect for sentience to a greater degree? Forcing someone to carry a fetus and give birth against their will, or giving them the right to get an abortion? Corroding empathy and compassion is not in the interest of one who can suffer. What corrodes empathy and compassion to a greater degree? Forcing someone to carry a fetus and give birth against their will, or giving them the right to get an abortion? The normalization of cruelty and brutality is not in the interest of one who can suffer. What normalizes cruelty and brutality to a greater degree? Forcing someone to carry a fetus and give birth against their will, or giving them the right to get an abortion? These are some things to consider. It should also be said that legalized abortion is in many regards a lesser evil. When abortion is criminalized, it still occurs frequently. It is, however, far more dangerous, with the lives of many women being seriously threatened. Legalization allows for abortion to be conducted in the safest possible way. It is very important that we do not confuse being pro-choice for being pro-abortion. You can be pro-choice while being anti-abortion. You can regard abortion as a right while believing that abortion is morally undesirable. You can support a right without agreeing with what people do with it. I regard far-right rhetoric as immoral, but that does not make me an enemy of freedom of speech. You can recognize a right to bodily autonomy and a limitation on state power without always agreeing with the way that this right is used. In many regards, a right is the ability to do something bad. Every right can be used in a bad way. This is why rights must be fiercely protected. Every right comes at a price. Being pro-choice and being pro-abortion are not the same thing. You can be anti-abortion while recognizing bodily autonomy is a right. You can recognize a right without having to agree with how people use it. You can pursue the elimination of abortion through means other than the ham-fisted approach of criminalization. Superior solutions include sex education, easily available contraception, and the destruction of rape culture. These solutions are beneficial to human well-being broadly. They also decrease abortion without undermining people's rights or putting too much power in the hands of the state. Bodily autonomy is among the most fundamental of rights. For the state to dictate what people do with their own bodies is a momentous overreach of state power. It is very important that those who support abortion rights do not become seen as being pro-abortion. Ideally, there would be no abortions. Abortion is usually a consequence of something going wrong. Abortion is never a best-case scenario. At best, abortion is a lesser evil. Abortion is not a good thing. Abortion is not something to support in of itself. The right to abortion is crucial, but that does not make abortion a social good. It simply makes its legalization a lesser evil. In an ideal world, there would be no abortions. But the best path towards such a world is sex education, easily available contraception, and the total eradication of crimes such as rape. These are effective solutions that decrease the need for abortion and improve human well-being broadly. They are far better than ham-fisted approaches such as criminalization, which threaten basic human rights and represent a tyrannical overreach of state power. You can oppose abortion without being an idiot about it. People need to understand that. It is for this reason that it is very important to emphasize that you can be pro-choice without being pro-abortion. Abortion is not good. The right to abortion is good. Ideally, there would be no abortions, but the solution is not criminalization. You can be pro-choice and anti-abortion. We must make sure that people understand that. We do not support abortion. We support the right to abortion. We are not pro-abortion. We are pro-choice. These are very different things.